I have been in communication with incarcerated people in several states. Oh, behind me is the communication system that a lot of state prisons use to allow people to email, text, receive pictures. So I got this in the background today because we're talking about love after lockup. So let's dive right into it. So Bianca, we'll talk about her.
Knowing that I want to be near him when he gets out, because if my man cannot leave that state, I'm moving to that state.
Parole requirement. You got to stay in the state under the same DOC supervision that you was incarcerated in. He was in Arizona. I think she's in Florida, but I'm not entirely sure. And she's gonna move so that she can be with him.
So they have like a job, or I mean, nothing lined up. I mean, who cares? They're not.
It's very rare to have a job lined up. I mean, how do you interview?
I just don't want you to not flip the bill for everything, but just I want to make sure that things are even. I honestly haven't been tracking what I've been spending. $3,000, maybe, might be 5,000.
Not even unrealistic. That's the sad thing. $3,000 spent even on 1 year of talking on the phone with somebody in prison. Easy.
I'd say that Bianca's being a little delusional. Daniel doesn't really have anything to offer her. I mean, he can offer her love, but love can only get you so far. How does my scar look? Looks a lot better compared to like when you couldn't speak. I'm still insecure about it. I mean, it's still obvious.
So she's about to talk about how she got the scar. She went out with some friends, got super turned up. Another lady offered to drive her home because she was too drunk. And she didn't realize that the other girl was too drunk. And I'm like, you was obviously too drunk if you couldn't realize that somebody offering you a ride was too drunk. Like she makes it seem like, oh, I was shocked. She was too drunk to drive me home and she hit a wall. And she went up an airport ramp and hit a wall. Like that's really drunk. So because she couldn't speak, it seems like she was impaled and she couldn't speak as a result for months. And so she wanted somebody to write. First place she thinks to go is a prison website to find a pen pal.
Because I was going through such a hard time healing from the accident. Text me if you need anything. I was specifically looking to write someone that had a DUI offense. So this is where I almost died. I haven't been here since that night.
And she finds where she lives triggering because of what she went through there, which I totally get. And that's the reason why she wants to leave. And that should be the reason why she tells her friends and family. She shouldn't be like, oh, I met this guy and he can't leave Arizona, so I'm going to go to Arizona. She should say, I am finding where I'm living triggering. I want to rebuild my life somewhere else because I went through a lot of trauma here. And I also met this guy, which gives me an opportunity to live somewhere else with someone else.
Being with Daniel is the fresh start that I need in life. I think that's going to help my mental health tremendously.
I know people are probably like, how? Why? How could he help me do anything? He's behind the wall. He can help literally by being a listening ear, validating how she feels, being willing to offer emotional support. That's a lot. And companionship with all the digital devices we got with JPay, you don't need to physically be in somebody's space and presence to offer companionship anymore. Now, what we notice in a lot of these relationships is that it's serving these women up until the point where the men are released. I have some reasons as to why that is. There's two buckets. Either the men stop offering what they were offering when they were incarcerated, emotional support, or the men are still offering emotional support and validation, but the women, now that they are physically sharing space, are expecting more than that now. And I think that's where things go wrong. I don't think you should expect more out of someone who's been incarcerated for years on end, who hasn't yet fully transitioned in their returning citizen journey. I think you should still allow them to offer what they've been offering. And if they stop offering what they've been offering, there's the problem. But don't expect them to now be a father, to now buy you a house, to now immediately get into the workforce. And by immediately, I mean giving them less than a month to get a job. That's too quick. That's too quick. Some might argue with me, but I say that's too quick. All right, so she's going out with her friend, her bestie, for the last time while she's in Arizona while she's in Florida before she moves to Arizona.
Oh, I really miss you. Oh, I leave tomorrow. Are you excited? I'm really excited, but I'm also kind of nervous. Yeah, I would be too, dude. Andres is my best friend that I've known since high school. We were literally inseparable. For like 6 months, and then I went to rehab, and yeah, it wasn't even it was like jail for children.
The fact that they have jail for kids and they be calling it cute little stuff like Family Justice Center. It could be Youth Rehabilitation Center, uh, but it's a jail. It's a juvie. They got cells, okay? And the fact that he has that experience, I hope she really leans on him and, gets real with him about the transition she's about to make for this guy so that he can give her some real advice.
He's basically like, listen, I'm not staying in a halfway. I don't care what I have to do. He's getting out of prison and he's saying he doesn't want to go to the halfway house. He was like, I'll report there and then I don't want to stay there. He's like, I want to stay with you. And then I'm like, okay, well, you might have to stay in the halfway. No, not might. He has to stay in the halfway. Yeah,
Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend. Not might. Part of his sentencing is a period of months in the halfway house. And there's usually some services there, some reentry services, a reentry coordinator to help you with getting on your feet. But they close their doors at a certain time, which could be 9 p.m., it could be 10 p.m. It's sober living, of course. And you are still under very high surveillance, and you might even have a monitor on you. So I don't know how he thinks he's gonna just skip out on that phase of his reentry and really of his sentencing, because that's a part of the sentence. And if he doesn't abide by that, he could easily get a probation violation and be back.
Or he's gonna go back to prison. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but
it is.
No, that's the case. And he just believes that he's gonna get his way. So stubborn. Bianca is very impulsive. Why didn't you call me? I've been calling you. No, you haven't. I told you to call me at 12. You didn't call me. Baby, I went to class. You told me you got out of class at 12. So, like, what have you been?
He gets out of class at 12. Girl, he's in prison. Even if you're in college and you get out of class at 12, you can't call at 12. You still gotta wait. He shouldn't have promised that. But if he's calling from a prison phone, which he is, because we heard the pre-recording, every prison phone has a pre-recording where they tell you no three ways, press 0. This is the name of the person calling you. Every prison phone has that. So he had to wait in line for the phone as well. Like he can't just jump in front of everybody who's already in line, who has been waiting since he was in his class. Like this girl is ridiculous.
Are you gonna be drinking like when he gets out? Are you gonna support him? I mean, I know he can't drink. I don't want him to drink. I'm worried about him relapsing because obviously that's what he went to prison for, you know what I mean? But I'm also not gonna let him control my life. If I want to have a drink, I'm gonna have a drink.
Bad idea.
Oh, why does it matter if I drink?
Like, it matters because it could be a trigger to him. And that's why you're laughing and giggling about it, because you know that it could be a trigger for him.
Only met once in person through glass. That's gonna be a hard change. It's gonna be a very hard change. And like I'm only 23. But he's not that much older than you. He's like what? 8 years older. Okay, I mean, he's a little bit. He's been married once before. He has a 13-year-old son. So you're gonna be like a stepmom. I mean, if he gets custody, probably.
Wouldn't he want custody? If he wants to be a great father, he's gonna want some sense of custody, which means the child's gonna be in your life, which means you're going to have to play that role. I'm about to call it on these two.
The relationship I have with Daniel's mom is pretty good. Hey, how are you? Good. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, thank you. But it would just make it harder for him to stay sober, being around the alcohol. But I'm sure that you're not going to love him and you're not going to do.
Right? Huh? And the friend smirking like I literally just told her that.
Hi, how are you? It's nice to meet you. I'm doing good. That's good.
She ain't respond to the question about be maintaining a sober household. So the dad's allowed to ask that. Look at her face. She knows she's not mentally stable. That's why she looks like that.
I think that's gonna help my mental health. I think that's gonna help my mental health tremendously. I've done so much for your son, and that's what you're gonna say to me?
That's why he said it. You've spent 7 bands on a guy that you've never even met. And she probably spent 5 bands before she ever even met him through the glass wall. That's why the dad wants to know. That's exactly why. Are you kidding? He don't care if he offends you. He know you're not gonna be around his entire life.
Listen to the mom. I think that she does have a point. I wouldn't be drinking around him. Maybe she doesn't really know.
Look, and I have not been sober since I've been inside. A lot of people use their time incarcerated to get sober, even though it's very difficult. But he's taking on opportunities to engage in substance use while incarcerated. Come on now. Like, if you are relapsing behind the wall, I am very, very concerned about the ability to stay sober while out. And that's this one. Hope you enjoyed it.